No mama. Yeah. We're in Struggle Live now. Hey, I already started the live. You don't let me work. Good morning, family. Good morning, man. My TikTok family never fails, man. I swear to God, man. TikTok, man, you guys go hard for me. I swear. I appreciate you guys. We had almost 1,700 people in TikTok yesterday. Appreciate you guys, man. Today is Friday. Be blessed to be watching this, or blessed to wake up this morning. The older I get, the more I understand my mother's lessons. Like, my mother used to say things like, people didn't wake up this morning. People didn't make it this morning. Like, the older I get, the more I understand the lessons that she taught me. So listen, guys, you are blessed. You are highly favored. Make the best out of your day. Don't let anyone interrupt your aura. Don't be afraid to say, get the fuck away from me. I'm not trying to hear that shit. You know what I mean? Do not be afraid to say that at all. Please don't. Because God knows I'm not. Man. Today is going to be a short version of Coffee and Credit. I had a lot of questions, but I know it's Friday. I know for a lot of people it's payday. They trying to get out there, but I'm saying, guys, we are in a recession. I posted a video the other day. I went to the grocery store, and it seems like every time I go to the grocery store, the exact same food item I purchased 2-3 weeks ago, the price increased. The price increased. And I know a lot of people are feeling that. The exception for me is this. With me and my wife, it's just the two of us. You know what I'm saying? So economically, we kind of in a better shape than most people because it's just the two of us. But imagine if we had two children. You know what I'm saying? And she's working, I'm working. We don't get any kind of government subsidy, no EBT, no Section 8, no nothing. So I really feel for the working class people right now, because you have to make choices between dinner and the electric bill. That's a hard choice to make. You have to make choices between, can I provide my baby a birthday party, or do I want to pay the gas bill? Those are difficult. Those are choices that I think that no one should have to make. No one should have to make those type of choices. But unfortunately, those are the type of choices that we have to make every fucking day right now in this economy. Right now, one out of every 4 cars, or 1 out of every 4 vehicles is getting repoed. Think about that. 1 out of every 4 vehicles is on the repossession list. And I tell people, I'll walk it like I talk it, Kamala. When I caught my Fed case and they froze all my accounts, they seized all my accounts, I was unable to pay my bills because the Feds seized all of my finances. And at that time, in 2015, when I got indicted by the Feds, I was driving a 2014 S550 Benz. And I know the feeling. I know the feeling when that flatbed pulled in front of your house every day. I had a flatbed used to pull in front of my house every day for months. And the guy would be like, hey, man, just give me the car. I'm like, nah, I'm not. I need it. I'm not. So I know what it feels like to go through a repo. I've been there. I've done it. I know what it feels like to go through an eviction. I know what it feels like when the HOA actually attack you because you can't pay your fees and they try to force you to sell your home. Like, I know what that shit feel like because I went through it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I literally went through that, you know? So again, today, I'm going to try to keep it short because I know it's Friday. You know what I'm saying? I know it's Friday. I know a lot of people getting paid. I know a lot of you guys going to turn up this weekend. But when you turn up, think about turning the fuck down. All right? Think about turning down. Because right now, money isn't guaranteed tomorrow. We're not living in the PPP era no more. All right? We're not living in the EIDL era no more. That shit over. That shit over. I know scammers getting jobs. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know scammers working at Chipotle. You know what I mean? Like, shit hard right now. All right? And you need to act like and acknowledge it's hard, especially if you have children. I posted on my Facebook 2 days ago. I said, if you're a mother and you have children or a child or children, and this summer you went to Tulum, Mexico, you turned up at all the brunch spots, but yet when they do the free back to school giveaways, you're the first person in line to get the free shit for your child to go back to school. You fail. You fail. Your priorities fucked up. Your priorities fucked up. Honestly. So let's get started today. A question that was sent to me. And again, please, I invite all questions. And there is no such thing as a dumb question. All right? There is no such thing as a dumb question. Please, I invite all questions. All right? I need that. All right? We need that content to continue to go 7 days a week, early in the morning, drinking coffee and talking about credit. All right? It's all about coffee and credit. This is for the working class people. This is for the 9 to 5. I got to get up at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. This is for the mid-shift people that worked at 11 to 7. They can catch the replay. This is for the overnight people that work from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. We got you. All right? We got you. It's all about coffee and credit. So today I want to talk about what's the difference between a Vantage score and a FICO score. And I think it'd be a lot of confusion with that when it comes to a Vantage score and a FICO score. And I'm going to tell you the reason why it'd be confusion. This is the reason why. Credit Karma and Credit Sesame, which most people subscribe to because it's free. You subscribe to Credit Karma and Credit Sesame because it's free. They use what's called a Vantage scoring model. All right. And there is nothing wrong with a Vantage scoring model, with the exception of this. 97% of lenders, 97% of financial institutions do not use the Vantage scoring model. They use FICO. All right. And to give you some background, the difference between the Vantage credit scoring system and the FICO credit scoring system is like Coca-Cola and Pepsi. They are not the same. All right. They are absolutely not the. Really? It's my cat. My cat hates to see me work. I swear to God. You hate to see me work. She hates to see me work. Anyway, the difference between a Vantage scoring system and a FICO scoring system is that it's like Coca-Cola and Pepsi. You know what I'm saying? They may look the same, but they're not the same at all. FICO has been around since 1956. All right. And to give you a background about FICO, FICO was created by a guy named Bill Furr. He's the FI. And another guy by the name of Carl Isaac. He's the CO. So that's where you get FICO from. And they started using this system in 1956 to determine what is the credibility of a person to get credit, to get loans. You know, back in those days, and even in my era of time, I remember growing up, my mother would send me to the grocery store with a list. She would send me to the grocery store with a list and say, hey, look, here you go. Take this list to the grocery store and bring these items back home with no money. With no money. Because my mother had good credit. You know what I'm saying? So that's just an example of how FICO came to be in 1956. They were able to judge a person's credibility based off certain factors, if they could pay on time, if they made enough revenue to pay. So that's where FICO came from. Now, on the flip side, and I want you to really hear this, on the flip side, in 2006, now remember, FICO came around in 1956. In order for the credit reporting bureaus to use FICO, they had to pay FICO. Like, FICO wasn't free. They charged the bureaus to use their FICO scoring model. So in 2006, the big three credit reporting agencies, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, the big three, for the first and only time ever, combined together, and they created the Vantage score credit reporting model. All right, in 2006, the big three don't even communicate with each other. But FICO was charging them so much money to use their credit scoring model to where TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian decided to join together for the first and only time in history in 2006. They actually joined together and decided they charging us too much money, man. Like the plug killing us. The plug killing us. We need to find another plug. So they created their own credit scoring model, and that's where the Vantage score came in at. So now, what's the problem? First of all, FICO is used by 95, 97% of all financial lenders around the nation. All right. FICO is tier 1. Some people use Vantage, but FICO is tier 1. But this is the problem. All right. Your credit score ranges from 300 to 850. All right, 300 on the low end, anywhere between 300 to 660. And I want to emphasize this part. Anywhere from 300 to 660, you have some issues going on with your credit. You have some issues going on that needs to be corrected. All right, you have some issues. I said it to say this because a lot of people feel like because they're simply in the 600s, they got good credit. No, you don't. You don't. Most creditors want to start giving loans or services at a 680, 690. That's where you in the good range. You know what I'm saying? So just because you're in the 600s, and I get that a lot. I have people say, oh, my credit is a 612. You fucked up. That lets me know you got charge-off, collections. You got some issues going on with your credit score. All right, you got some issues going on. So now, what is the problem between a Vantage score and a FICO score? All right. Because most people do not pay for credit monitoring. They simply have Credit Karma or Credit Sesame, which uses the Vantage credit score model as opposed to the FICO model. But those scores can be different between 30 to 100 points. All right. Your Vantage score and your FICO score can be different 30 to 100 points, depending on what you're trying to get approved for. All right. Depending on what you're trying to get approved for. Case in point, I'm giving an example. And sometimes you see this meme on social media. You pull up your Credit Karma, your Credit Sesame. They're both Vantage score. And it says, oh, your credit score is a 710 and you need a vehicle. So you run to an auto dealership thinking that you have a 710 credit score, and the auto dealership does not use the FICO scoring model. I'm sorry, they don't use the Vantage scoring model. They use the FICO scoring model. So when they run your FICO report, your FICO score comes back, 599, 605, 620. And you're like, wait a minute, I just pulled my credit report. It said I was a 720. Like, no. Because again, those two scoring models can change between anywhere from 20 to 30 points up to 100 points. And I've seen that. I've seen people think they have a 720 credit score because Credit Karma and Credit Sesame says you have a 720. But then when we actually pull their FICO score, it's a 605 or a 620. It happens. You know what I'm saying? So understand that. And it's not to say that the Vantage score is wrong. It's just that whatever financial institution that you're dealing with, they do not use the Vantage credit score model. They use the FICO score model. So now look, I want to talk more about FICO because there is something that's getting ready to happen next year that's going to affect millions of people, and you can Google this. Right now, currently, they use what's called FICO 8. All right. Every 5 years, FICO update their scoring system. Every 5 years. So right now, we're at FICO 8, which, again, 95% of any institutions that deal with financials, that deals with loans, that deals with products, services, they use the FICO 8. Next year, all these companies are slowly instituting FICO 10T. 10 stands for the 10th version. T stands for trending. All right? Let me explain what I mean by this. And I want you guys to really, really, really listen to what I'm saying, because this is going to affect millions of people. Right now on the FICO 8, if I have a client that have late payments, I would tell my client, look, make your payments on time for the next 4 to 6 months. And once we apply for new credit or new services or that loan, most institutions only go back 90 days. So if you've been making your payments on time 4 to 6 months, and they're only going back 90 days, they're going to see on-time payments for the last 90 days. That's the current FICO credit scoring model that's used by 95 to 98% of all financial institutions, whether it's loans, services, whatever. FICO 10T is going to be implemented and is slowly being adopted right now. Like FICO 10T is slowly being adopted right now by banks, lending agencies, services, and so anything dealing financial. They are slowly implementing FICO 10T. What's the difference between FICO 10T and the current FICO 8? Listen. Remember I said, I tell my clients, if you have late payments, which is the worst, late payments are the worst. You lose anywhere from 30 to 100 points on a late payment. Late payments are the absolute worst. I'd rather deal with the collections or a charge off than a late payment. All right. But if you do have a late payment, let's say you have one, maybe two, I would advise my clients with that particular account, make sure you pay that account on time for the next 4 to 6 months. And once you apply for new credit, again, under FICO 8, they normally only go back 90 days. They won't see the late payment. Under the new rule, what FICO is getting ready to implement, under FICO 10T, they able to go back 2 years. Think about that. 2 years. So let's say back in 2022, 23, so you lost your job, you went through some shit, you missed some payments, but you kept your head above the water. You know what I'm saying? You paid minimum payments. You did what you had to do in order to keep your head above the water. And then you go to an institution and you try to get a loan or a new credit card, but they can go back 2 years. They can go back 24 months. And within 24 months, they see that, oh, in 2023, you had 2 missed payments. That alone can get you denied for new services. That's huge. That's huge. To judge a person based off of indiscretions that happened 2 years ago, that is huge. And I want you guys to really understand the gravity of what I'm saying. Like, understand the gravity of what I'm saying. They are going to be able to judge you off of what occurred in your life 2 years ago. You could have lost a loved one. Your wife could have died. Your husband could have died. You could have went through a divorce. You know what I'm saying? Like, so much could have happened in your life at that time. But at the end of the day, you overcame that. But under FICO 10T, it doesn't matter if you overcame it or not. Institutions are going to judge you based off what occurred 2 years ago. So that's why I tell people right now, listen, if you got average to bad credit, you need to get that shit taken care of right now. Because going into next year, and think about this, we 150 days away from New Year's Eve? This year is over. If I'm telling you it takes anywhere from 4 to 6 months, and in some cases 2 years, to repair and restore your credit, depending on how damaged it is, you need to start right now. Right now. Because when FICO 10T is implemented, it's going to damage millions of people. Millions. And it's designed to do that. And I say it's designed to do that because right now, if you're a person that has, let's say, multiple credit cards, all right, you are witnessing credit card companies decreasing your credit limit. Your credit limit used to be $10,000. Now it's $3,500. You know what I'm saying? Like, American Express right now, if you carry over a balance for more than 90 days, they are suspending. American Express, if you carry a balance on American Express for more than 90 days, they suspending your usage. They will send you an email and say, hey, as of right now, you cannot use your American Express card until you pay X amount of dollars. Because American Express do not like you carrying over balances. They don't like that. Capital One, if you get close to your credit limit, Capital One is freezing the card. They'll send you an email and say, okay, listen, let's pay this card down. And once you pay the card down to close to a zero balance, they take the card back. They take the card back. Hey, guys, we are living in some detrimental times. Detrimental times. And right now, the only way I see people getting ahead is through your credit. You got to fix your credit, man. You got to. And you have to use it properly. Discover Card right now. Discover Card. If you carry a balance more than 120 days, they'll freeze the card, wait till you pay the balance down, and then take the card back. I have clients tell me this. I had a client call me yesterday and tell me this. With Capital One, he had a Capital One Quicksilver card, $20,000 limit. He owed like $14,000. he paid the balance all the way down, and he only owed like $2,000. And Capital One sent him an email and said, "Hey, we closed the card. We closed it. It's happening. All right, it's happening. We are getting ready to enter into some detrimental times. Detrimental. Think about this here. Right down the street from where I work at, they build luxury apartments. And they said they want the average person to make 4 times the rent. They want the person to make 4 times the rent, all right, of the apartment. That means that the rent for the apartment for a 1 fucking bedroom is $3,500 a month. $3,500. So a person has to make $14,000 a month just to move into this place. 14 and have good credit. And have good credit. So, hey, listen, on my TikTok, anybody want to get invited up on my TikTok, hit me with the invite. I'll pull you up. I'll be glad to pull you up. But yes, that's the difference between a VantageScore and a FICO. And I know I went off because I am so passionate about this, because I know how credit has changed my life. You know what I'm saying? It changed my life for the better. You know, like, let's say I have a bad month when it comes to clients with credit report. I can have a bad month, but guess what? I have cash advance on my credit cards. And if I got, case in point, my DCU is a $50,000 credit limit, I can get $19,000 cash advance off that card to float me for the next few months until, you know, my clients start rolling back in and I pay that card off. That's the beauty of good credit. You know what I'm saying? But you have to be smart. You have to be smart. So again, on TikTok, Instagram, my several Facebook pages, LinkedIn, anybody want to come up, ask questions, please send an invite. I'll pull you up. All right, so we talked about the difference between FICO and Vantage. The next question I have is, how long do it take for a repo to be removed? That's a pretty good question. But I'm going to tell you why it's a good question. It depends on who is the collection company that has the repo. Because certain collection companies will sue you when it comes to a repo. I've had clients that got sued. You know what I'm saying? So, and I want to caveat. I want to say this: there is no difference between a voluntary repo and an involuntary repo. And I'm gonna keep it straight hood. I tell clients all the time: if your car is under repo, they looking for it, play hide and seek. Because whether you give it to them or they find it, is no impact on your credit score. It's no impact on your credit score. So sometimes when I look at a credit report and it says voluntary repossession, it's still negative. It don't matter if it's a voluntary repossession or a repossession. It don't matter. So I play hide and seek. I make them find it. You know what I'm saying? So life happens. But yes, it depends on the company that you're dealing with. It depends on how aggressive that company is, because there are certain collection companies that are more aggressive than other collection companies. You know, a company called Midland Credit. Midland Credit is very aggressive. They will sue the shit out of you. NVLV, very aggressive. They will sue the shit out of you. And my thing is, if you know that you're facing that, get in front of it. You know what I'm saying? Like whether you hire us or somebody else, get in front of the situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, get in front of the situation. Don't wait until they file a lawsuit against you, because unfortunately with most people, when collection companies file lawsuits against us and they knock on your door and they serve you with those papers, we don't take it serious. We don't take it serious. We literally do not take it serious. And what happened is that because you did not go to court, you get a judgment against you. And a month after that judgment, when you get your paycheck at work, 50% of your paycheck gone to garnishments because you didn't take it serious. And I'm telling you emphatically, because of the pandemic, a lot of collection companies are suing. They are suing people right now. They're suing. They're trying to get their money. They're trying to get their money. All right? They are suing people. And I see it all the time. I have clients right now that are facing lawsuits from different collection companies because during the pandemic, they lost millions of dollars. And right now they're trying to recover. And that's the same thing when it comes to evictions. During the pandemic, you know, you could finesse the system and live for free. Them days are over with. You know what I'm saying? Those days are over with. The days of scamming is over with. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm just being 100. Like, I tell people all the time, we don't do CPNs. We don't. And I know how to make CPNs. I don't fuck with CPNs because if I make a CPN and I give it to you and you run your ass up to the dealership and try to get a Hellcat, it's always a Hellcat or SRT, and you get caught, you're going to tell on me. You're going to tell. Like, and I know you're going to tell. I know you're going to tell on me. So why the fuck would I put myself in that position or put you in that position? Everything we do over here at Pleasant Management, man, we do legally. All right? We do legally. And I tell all my clients, this shit going to take time. All right? It's going to take time. I don't do credit sweeps. As a matter of fact, I got an ad right now. I just said, the guy said, in 24 hours, we can clean your credit. Impossible. Cap. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So to recap, we talked about the difference between a Vantage score and a FICO. A Vantage is maybe 5% of lenders use a Vantage score. 95% of lenders use a FICO. And currently they use FICO 8. Starting next year is FICO 10T, because every 5 years, FICO update their credit scoring model. And under FICO 10T, as opposed to FICO 8, and with FICO 8, they go back 90 days to 120 days, and they're able to see your credit activity. You know what I'm saying? Your financial activity. Under FICO 10T, they're going to be able to go back 2 years and see your credit and financial activity, which is huge. We also discussed how long do it take to remove a repo. It depends on who the collection company is. Some collection companies are easier than others. There are some collection companies that would actually sue you. And I'm telling you, if you get that person that knock at your door and serve you with a summons to go to court, please go to court. And I tell you what, if you do get hit with a summons, please send me a DM, and I would tell you exactly what to say when you go to court. All right? Because at the end of the day, collection companies cannot get blood from a turnip. You know what I'm saying? There are certain judges around the nation that have actually sided with the plaintiff, meaning the person that got served, and said, hey, listen, he can't pay it. Dear collection company, I'm sorry. He has shown me that he cannot pay this for whatever reason, and that lawsuit got dropped. And whatever they owe got dropped. So please do not ignore those summons to go to court. Please, again, feel free to DM me. Hey man, I got a summons. I got to go to court. What should I do? I will tell you exactly what you need to do when you go to court. All right. And depending on certain states, especially if it's a liberal state, most likely the judge is going to side with you and tell the collection company, hey, you ass out. This person can't afford this debt, and I'm not going to make this person pay this debt. All right. So that is all for me on this beautiful Friday, man. I want to say, listen, be safe, make good decisions. Before you spend $1 out your pocket, ask yourself, how could I better serve this money before I spend it, especially if you have children? Life begins at a 700 credit score, and I mean that from experience. I came from coming home from federal prison with $300 in my pocket, $350 in my pocket. Tell you a quick backstory, I'm gonna let you guys go. When I was released from federal prison, you got 3 days to turn yourself into the halfway house. So my mentality was, instead of me taking a bus home from Jessup, Georgia Federal Penitentiary, it would take 2 days to get home, and I had 1 day to turn myself in. I'm gonna take a plane. But the only identification I had was my federal ID. That's it. So I only had my federal ID. So I had a friend of mine named Bridget. She had bought me a plane ticket. And I get to the airport outside of Jessup, Georgia. And I get through security. And at the point where I had to show my ID, I only had my federal prison ID. The one thing about a federal prison ID is only one way to get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's only one way to get this ID. You had to have served time in the feds, and it's a federal identification ID. And the young lady called the manager over. He comes over to me. I show him an ID. I explained to him, look, I just got released from the feds an hour and a half ago. I'm flying home to St. Louis with my family. And the manager accepted the ID, which he didn't have to. He accepted the ID, and he took me to the food court, and he said, what do you like to eat? What haven't you ate in the years you were incarcerated? And I said, a hamburger. Man. And this kind gentleman took me to one of the restaurants, and he said, whatever he wants, give it to him. I'm going to pay for it. That moment in my life changed me. It let me know it's still good people on this planet, because he didn't have to do that. And that's the reason why I'm not a gatekeeper. So you send me a message, I will address it. Whatever I can do to help you, I will help you. But that moment in my life changed me for the better. That one moment. You guys have a great Friday. We love you. Thank you.